Hey everybody, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am teaming up with a few of my online scrappy friends for a new series called Stamping for Scrapbookers. So we are taking a bunch of ideas and techniques and products that you typically see for card making and art journaling and those types of things, and showing you some cool ways that you can incorporate them in your scrapbooking. So we are going to have this series going on once a month, and there is a theme each month. And so for this month, the theme is food. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I have my 12 by 12 background sheet, and I've put it on my Memory Misty, which is just a stamping tool in the 12 by 12 size. And all I am doing is looking at the stamps I want to use. So I've pulled out a bunch of this big fruit from Ink Road. This stamp is bananas. And then I also have this smaller one, and this is from Kessie Art, I believe, which is a European company. And I'm going to pull some of the small ones. So I've got like the cherries, the cupcake, the ice cream, the donut, the strawberry, some of the ones that kind of go along with my fruit theme. So what I'm wanting to do is to create some stamped images all the way around the outline of this page. So right now I'm just kind of clustering up where I'm going to want these stamps to go. And this like cluster is going to be repetitive throughout the layout. So I go ahead and put the top down, and that's going to kind of leave all my stamps in that exact spot. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my absolute favorite Catherine Pooler inks. And this one is Tutti Frutti, I believe. And I'm going to stamp that image. And I have to kind of get used to this stamp platform because I switched from Tim Holtz to this one. And I like this one a lot better. Except that I'm stamping on the very top edge. And so this first one, not so great. But after that, I get the hang of it, and it's a whole lot better. So after I do each cluster, I just clean off my stamps and choose a new color. And then I rotate my background page 90 degrees on my stamp platform and start again. So I'm using that same exact cluster of stamps 4 different times. So I'm going to get it in this orangish color, in a purple, in the green, and then in the blue. So that same cluster is going to repeat. And then what I went ahead and did is I went back to my stamps and reclustered them in the corners to fill in the design. So I wanted that stamped design to go all the way around the page. And so then I grabbed my Scrapbook.com has these new blended applicator tools that have this dome top. So they're not supposed to leave lines. And so I'm just starting to play with them. I haven't done a whole lot with them yet. But so far I'm really liking them. So I'm going back to my same exact colors of ink and using my blending tool to just add some color to the background. So I know that in my layout design that I kind of have in my head here, I know that the center is going to be covered up. So I'm not worried about how things look there. I'm only worried about how this border around the outside of my page is going to look. So I'm going back into each color and adding it in with my blending tool. And what you want to make sure that you do when you try this technique is make sure that you kind of blend your colors where they meet up. So you don't want like a stark contrast line. You want them to look blended. And so it's just light pressure. I'm using a circular motion. And so this technique, I have to kind of give some credit here. So this idea of stamping all the way around the outside edge of a page was something that Sarah Scraps had taught in a class that we took at one of our retreats. And so I kind of that was started the idea. And then Jennifer McGuire had posted a card making video showing this idea of stamping and then inking the background to match. And she did it on a card in kind of like a sunburst rainbow. And so that got me thinking about how I could use that idea on a scrapbook page as well. So once I have that outside kind of border part of my stamping done, I am super thrilled with how it looks so far. So I'm loving the bright colors. I am loving how it's kind of got a rainbow going on. Now I need to work on where my photos are going to go. And so I'm just cutting some mats for the middle of the page. And I want to do a nice thick black mat with a white cardstock on top of it. And so at first I don't cut my border very big, but then I do end up going back and cutting a new piece of black cardstock so that my black border is a little bit more bold. And you'll see that as I start to put the layout together. And then I decide with these bright colors and that black element, I feel like that, like you can see right there, the black border is not big enough for what I am wanting. So while I'm trimming my photos, I'm looking at that thinking, no, I need more of a black border. So I do come back and do that. But what I am thinking while I'm looking at this also is that I feel like I need a little bit of a black element on the background to bring everything together. And so I increased the size of that black mat, and then I went and found this little heart stamp and my Catherine Pooler black archival ink. And I don't have the big Catherine Pooler black ink pad. I only have this mini one, and I love it because it's just Catherine Pooler inks are so juicy and they produce the best images, and I love them, you guys. My favorite inks by far. And so I'm adding in those little hearts kind of scattered throughout, and I really like how that gives just a touch of that black element to the background. So I'm super happy with how that looks at this point. And I'm just trying to decide here if I need any more little black hearts. Like, I'm looking at all the sections. You know how you do. Like, did I equal this out? How's it working for me? That's what I'm doing in my head. So I have two pictures that I want to use, and I know that I want to put this black piece on some fun foam, and I want it to stand up off that background a little bit. So it almost looks like, I don't even know how to describe it, kind of like a shadow box. So where this is up above, and then all this bright color is kind of backlit behind it. And I'm going to build the rest of my layout on top of the square. And I did put a tiny bit of ink around that white cardstock. You can't see it super well in the pictures, but you can see it in real life. And it just matches the colors in the background. So I have my two pictures. One of them I cut small, and then one I left 4x6. And this is from when we went to the Navy Pier in Chicago. So they have this place called where you can get the original rainbow cone. And it's this kind of special ice cream that they are known for. And so it has orange sherbet on top, and then pistachio, and then Palmer House, which is like vanilla with cherries and walnuts, and then strawberry, and then chocolate. And oh my gosh, you guys, it is so good. So good. So beside the point, I wanted a really bright, fun layout to document these pictures because the ice cream itself is super bright and fun because it's got all of those layers. So then I go ahead and grab this color wash sticker book, and this is from Paper House Productions. And it has all of these, they're not really washi, they're cardstock stickers, but they're kind of in the shapes and size of washi. And I'm going to use those stickers to create an element on this white cardstock for my photos to live on. So I didn't want my embellishments for this layout to be too like crazy busy because really my stamping and my rainbow background is where I want the focus to be. So I don't want anything that's going to compete with that or going to make it seem way too busy. So just adding this little pop of color with these sticker strips is like perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. So it gives me a little bit more detail to my layout without being crazy overwhelming. So I do have both of my photos backed with black cardstock, and the little one that shows you like each layer of the ice cream is just a picture from their sign. And that one I have on some fun foam. So that one's going to stand up layered over the top of the other one. And you can just kind of see some of those stickers peeking out behind. And then I want to use these foam thickers to spell out my title, which is just going to say Our Fave. And so I'm getting them kind of nestled in around that picture. And I couldn't decide at first if I wanted it to say my fave or our fave. You know, big scrapbooking decisions here, guys. But our works because all of us, my kids, my husband, all of us really thought that these were cool. And then I want to use this black foam heart. So I am kind of trying to decide, am I going to put it down in a bottom corner? Where do I want that heart to live? And I end up deciding that I want it to be on top of my cup of ice cream. So I'm just going to kind of center it there. And I think that adds kind of a cute little pop of unexpected dimension. And I decide I need something in the top left of my kind of inside layout on the big layout. And so I'm going to take 3 of my stamps and 3 of my colors. So these are the same exact stamps I used on the background. I'm going to grab the Flirty Fuchsia one and do this little like lime orange slice thing. I'm going to grab the little strawberry, and I forget that one I think I do with Tutti Frutti. And then I also grabbed the pineapple, and I'm going to use that Mardi Gras kind of orangish turquoise for that one. And I do have to grab a little bit bigger block just to make this big pineapple fit. And I'm going to come back in with my blending tool, and I'm going to blend the ink over the top because I don't want them to appear stark white when all of the other shapes on the page have that little bit of kind of color added to them. So I'm just flipping out my dome tops here so that I can add just a little bit of color. And honestly, it's the color that was left over. I don't even have to add any more ink. And then I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut them. So the reason, while I'm doing that I picked these 3 colors is because it's going to go in that top left-hand corner, under, kind of tucked under that word hour. And since the blue ink, the suede shoes, is in that corner, I didn't feel like I needed a piece of fruit cut out of the blue because all of these were going to be layered in that particular area. So instead, I pulled the other 3 colors. So if I was trying to put an embellishment cluster in a different area of the layout, I would have stamped my colors accordingly. Does that make sense? So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't repeating the blue element the entire time. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim those out, and then I stick them kind of tucked underneath that word hour. And those bigger 2 are going to go flat on the page, and then I'm going to put a little piece of dimensional adhesive on the strawberry that's a little bit smaller, so that that one stands up and gets emphasized too. And I'm just kind of tucking it around my title. And that's going to leave that spot up at the top where I have the white space where I can add some journaling. So I'm just going to talk about, you know, this is a historic place on the Navy Pier, and we of course had to try it, and it was super yummy. I am going to add just a couple more little hearts with my stamp to kind of tie everything together. But like I said, I don't want to do a ton of embellishing because I want my stamping to really like stand out. I don't want anything to overshadow the pictures and the work that I have already done. So I thought about putting some extra things in that spot, but it ends up just being my journaling, and you'll see that in the close-up pictures. And so that's going to do it. I would absolutely love to have you try out this technique with some stamps. You can use this with any kind of stamp. It doesn't have to be fruit or food. Any kind of stamp would work. Do make sure you click down below. There's a complete supply list down there, as well as on my blog. And there are also links to the other ladies playing along. And I'll see you soon. Bye.